And just to kind of give an idea of, today we're meeting in the boardroom of All Care Health. Thank you, Susan, for helping arrange this. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to start with a quick lay of the land. We'll start out with our pledge and our inspiration, and then we'll kind of talk about upcoming club activities. And then we'll hear from Kelsy Ausland from the Ausland Group for our program. And we'll finish it up with John Schiavone for Sergeant at Arms. That's kind of our event. And if you have any questions, feel free to put any questions in the chat. What's going on as far as in our club. So we'll start with the pledge. Pat, would you like to start us off with the? Okay.
We lost the flag.
We lost the flag.
Well, I can turn it this way.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Now I have to look to see who's here, but Cindy, would you like to have an inspiration for us, please?
I do. It's
Thank you.
short and sweet. Among the things that you can give and keep are your word, a smile, and a grateful heart. That's from Zig Ziglar.
Okay, thank you. All those are very true. So I thought I'd start with the Rotary Minute, and it kind of reflects back on last week's meeting, in which we talked about the PACE program with All Care Health. And this is called On Concerns for the Aging. One current area of special emphasis for Rotary Club focuses on providing new opportunities for the aging. Our Rotary International Board of Directors urge Rotarians to identify new projects serving the elderly that emphasize intergenerational activities and the integration of seniors into society as well as their workplace. And we want to stress service with elderly as well for them, so with as well as for them. With a substantial upswing in the worldwide population of older persons, the needs of special attention have greatly multiplied. As citizens grow older, it becomes increasingly important for them to retain their personal independence and to remain in control of their own lives to the extent that this is possible. Many Rotary clubs are seeking ways to serve the older people in our community who face the problems of deteriorating health, loneliness, poor nutrition, transportation difficulties, inability to do customary chores, and loss of family associations, reduced recreational opportunities, inadequate housing, and limited information about what available social agencies for emergency assistance. Some clubs have initiated a valuable community service to assist older persons in retirement plan and adjustment by organizing and sharing the wealth of information available within the club's membership. The greatest need of aging individuals is frequently a mere expression of real caring and concerns by thoughtful friends. All Rotarians should consider how they and we as club members can actively participate in programs for the aging. It is one area of community service. There is a growing possibility that each of us may someday be on the receiving end. I thought our program in the All Care PACE program was another reminder about how all of us can help senior citizens retain their independence for as long as safely possible, as well as have the best quality of life. Okay. Visiting Rotarians and guests. Let's see. Would anybody like to introduce any guests? Visiting Rotarians? Okay, hearing none. Asante, healthcare update. When?
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. It's nice to virtually see all of you. Can't wait till we see all of us in the same room. Isn't that be awesome? It's going to be wonderful. A couple of great things to give an update on. You know, COVID hospitalizations across the state have dropped significantly. As of Monday, there were only 110 patients hospitalized in the entire state. Remember, it wasn't long ago where there were more than that hospitalized in Jackson and Josephine County. So the numbers have really dropped a lot. As of this morning, there were only 6 patients in the Asante 3 hospitals with COVID. Only one of those here in Grants Pass. Between the 1st of April and the 7th of April, we had 0 hospitalized patients in Grants Pass. That's the first time I could say that in like over 2 years. So it was really outstanding. But coming out of all this, I'm really concerned about the well-being of our entire community. And as we're coming through this and coming out of it, whatever you want to say there, the pandemic has taken a toll on almost everyone. It really has had an impact on everyone. And it's important for us to take care of ourselves. You know, I've used this example before and I'll use it again. It's kind of like when you're flying on an airplane and they say, in the unlikely event that we lose cabin pressure, you know, please put the oxygen mask on yourself before helping others. And I think we have to remember that we have to take care of ourselves first. And, you know, so we can help being there for others. For me, you know, I've learned to try to eat right. I love the All Trails app, you know, doing the social connections, things like that make a difference. So I would encourage all of us to continue to check in with others, people that we love and we care about and we're concerned about, because I'm telling you, there's a lot of people that aren't doing well. They're not doing well, and they may or may not share that with us. And so there's a question we can ask them is, how has the pandemic affected them? And I will tell you, I've used it, and a common thing that I'm hearing is that there's a sense of loneliness. People are still feeling lonely, or the experiences of losses. They've lost family members, or they've lost friends. They may have even lost friends or family members because of the vaccine issue. Just because of there's tension in that issue has caused friendships to deteriorate and dissolve. And so, you know, we were designed to be making human connections and connecting with each other. So I would encourage all of us to make those connections, check in with people that we haven't seen or you haven't heard from. It's super important. You know, we're certainly on our side, on the healthcare side, we're getting a lot of research and a lot of articles being written around how this has going to have a long-term effect on many people and all of us. So I'm grateful for the wonderful Rotary group, but remember to make those connections with those people that you care about. That's it, Steve.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Wynn. Valerie, update on City Council. Grants passed. Any questions, before I start that, any questions for Wynn? Okay, Valerie.
Well, there's not a lot to report because we didn't have a meeting this last Wednesday. I will just continue to say that behind the scenes, we continue to work on putting together what sort of financial deal we're going to do or how we're going to put together an urban campground. So that's that's big on our radar. And housing, we still continue. We're having a housing meeting tomorrow with the housing committee, trying to find some strategies to solve the housing crisis that we are dealing with and seeing how best to use our ARPA money to solve the problem. So I don't think I have anything. I will say that we did agree to put some temporary parklets downtown, just as we had this last year, because we're not quite ready to move forward on a permanent basis, but there will be some of the cement ones there again this year to try to help out our businesses. And we do have a task force kind of looking at the downtown area and how we can make the most of our downtown area. And I'm looking forward to you all meeting in June, our executive director for our destination and marketing organization, because she will be giving a presentation. So that's another thing kind of going on in the background. So lots in the background. We do have a meeting this next Wednesday. So hopefully I'll have more to report next week.
Thank you, Valerie. Any questions for Valerie? Okay. So a couple meeting update items. The first one is, I noticed that Bruce Murray is here virtually, and he is joining our club as a new member, probably officially today, but we'll welcome him in person in a couple weeks when he returns from vacation. And so we do welcome you today as a member, so officially a member, but we'll be able to stay so in person in a couple weeks. So welcome.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you, Bruce. As far as club activities, I did bring the banner for our club, which nobody's seen actually this year. The first person that did see this, though, is actually on 4 legs, and you'll notice the end of it is kind of chewed up. I'll tell you how long I've had that. That is when Hope, brought Hope on, which is the puppy that decided to chew the end of it. When I unwrapped it, she decided that looked like a great chew toy. But actually, I caught it before it's just got a few bite marks in it. In our meeting, we're going to be meeting in the boardroom for the next 2 weeks, this week and then next week. And then we'll return to the community room. I'm going to be sending out a survey between now and the end of the month. And our April 27th board meeting as a club, we'll talk about that as far as what that will look like for May. And May actually is our 30th anniversary of our club. So a couple things, speaking of May, some club events. On May 7th is the Rotary Food Bank Planning Day at the Food Bank. And that's in the morning from 9 to 11. A week later, on Saturday, May 14th, is the Grants Pass Parkway cleanup. And a week after that, May 21st, is the Rogue River cleanup, starting at White Horse Park, 8:30 to noon with t-shirt and lunch provided. So there'll be some opportunities to sign up for that coming up, and there's some more information about that in the Navigator as well. So like 3 weeks in a row, hopefully we could get some good club participation. One of the things we talk about is the idea of being able to meet in person, and those service club activities are a great way for us to serve our community as well as have some club fellowship as well. Doug, you want to talk about Porch Fest?
Sure.
Update?
I actually got 2 updates. Porch Fest is going along smoothly. All the different teams are doing their stuff and things are going well. The list of bands are coalescing and the list of porches are coalescing, and at some point we'll coalesce the 2 together and then work on coalescing a brochure. But everything's going well. I don't think there's any hiccups in the future. Thank you everybody for working so hard on this, the PR team and the fundraising team. The second announcement I have, or FYI for the club, the food project where we're starting to develop a bags for kids in the 2 different school systems where we're going to start to reestablish that program. It's moving along. It's going to be called the Fork Program. And we don't know what it's going to morph into, but we committed our club to volunteering at least 1 month during the school year to be the labor of 1 day a week to gather food, bag it up, and get it delivered to the school. That's the current plan. It may morph into something else, but that's the current plan. And we may sign up for two months during the year as well. But that's getting worked. We're working through that and getting all the details lined out. Tommy?
Would it be individual food bags for each child's family?
It may be. We're trying to work that out. We're trying to figure out the best way to determine need and get the stuff to the kids.
Right.
So it may be that it's boxes of food at the schools, and the schools then fill up a backpack for the kids. So we're trying to figure out the iteration of how it happens.
Thank you.
Doug,
Yeah, Debbie?
can I chime in on the latest meeting from last Monday?
Yeah, please, because I missed that. Thank you.
So we checked with the District 7 principals, elementary principals, and they said that truly the greatest need is for snack foods. And they feel that each school or teacher could create enough room for a small little pantry for snacks in the classrooms. And so that's kind of the direction it's morphing into versus trying to load a little kid down with food for the weekend, snacks for the weekend kind of thing, or snacks during the day is kind of what it's morphing into. And there's a number of snack boxes available. We're also checking with the food bank, and we keep trying to reach out to Jesse at Grocery Outlet and haven't had much success, but we're thinking maybe a couple of food drives in the year to kind of replenish these boxes might be the right direction to go at this point, but more to follow. And we'll be meeting every second Monday of the month to kind of go over new information and try and get this organized.
Okay. Any other questions or updates? Okay, well, thanks everyone that's helping out with that project. This is kind of an important weekend for the bottle drop program. Greg, do you want to talk about that timetable, please?
Was, I saw him.
I saw him.
There he is.
Took me a second to find my unmute button. Sorry. Through the 23rd, every bag that we drop off of returnable bottles and cans gets a 20% match for the Earth Week program. So far, we've already dropped off 8 bags, and that's created a total of $42.20 up front, and that is an additional $8.44 with the extra 20% match. So keep that rolling. We have to the 23rd with that. Now on the social media contest, we only have until the 17th. That's a chance for a $250 prize for one of the, I think it's 10 or 12 best social media posts. And Janie is coordinating those. All you need is a picture of yourself or anyone that's involved with Rotary or a possible beneficiary. We use all this money for our youth programs. So if you have kids or grandkids that you want to get into a photo, try that. We need a blue bag and that, and then Janie can take care of all the details on the correct posting tags and things like that to get us involved in the contest. If you have a photo that you can take and text it to Janie, she can take it from there. And that only goes to the 17th. And again, the drop off goes to the 23rd. So be a hero, save the earth.
Okay, thank you, Greg. Any questions for Greg? Okay. There also is the Josephine County, the Rotary Clubs of all the Rotary Clubs in Josephine County getting together on Wildlife Images on May 19th from 5 to 7 p.m. So we'll have sign-ups starting for that in early May as far as the confirmation, but please put that date on your calendar. Any other media announcements or upcoming activities that we should bring about, talk about? Jody, did you want to talk about the food program?
Yes, the shoes. What we've got is if anybody is planning on helping when we get the shoes to deliver them and fit them on the kids out at Evergreen, you need to go in and sign up as a volunteer through the District 7, or pardon me, the Three Rivers site. I think I sent that to Steve. I'm not sure if it made it in the Navigator or not, but it takes them a little bit of time to get you approved. So if you're planning on trying to see about coming out to help with that when it happens, which may be a couple of weeks still from now when the shoes get delivered, please go in and make sure that you have registered as a volunteer so they can do the background check and get you approved to be able to be out at the school. I'd hate for you to go clear out to Cave Junction and then not be able to help out.
It is not in this week's Navigator, but it will be in next week's Navigator. Thank you. Did you want to talk about the hunger? What is it? Light on Hunger?
Shining a light on hunger. That is coming up on the 23rd. So it's not this weekend, but it is next weekend that we'll be having the big fundraiser for the Josephine County Food Bank. It's held out at Raptor Creek Farm on Upper River Road, and you can go to the Josephine County Food Bank website to be able to register for the event. It's a dinner, a live auction, a silent auction. It really was a lot of fun last year and stuff, but it's also nice to be able to see the food bank and see what's going on, which I know everybody will be doing on May 7th anyhow, but this is a fundraiser for it. So if you're able to participate, please go to the Josephine County Food Bank website, and there should be a link right there to be able to get your tickets.
Okay, thank you. Kelly, it looks like you have a question or a comment.
I do, thank you. So the 30th annual Road River Cleanup and Let's Pull Together is happening on Saturday, May 21st, 2022. RBCOG is asking that we join them for a trash cleanup and weed pull along the lower Road River. T-shirts, prizes, snacks, and a to-go volunteer lunch will be provided. There are 2 check-in locations, 8:30 a.m. at Whitehorse County Park or Hog Creek County Park. And then everybody will check out at noon at Whitehorse. And I have more information on that. I know some of you have already indicated to me you would like to be involved. If others would like to also be involved, let me know. And I'll also put the information in the chat section.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, well, I don't see any others. Tommy, would you like to introduce our program this week, please?
Yes, I would.
Okay, thank
We
you.
have the pleasure of Kelsy Ausland being here. She's the president and designer and engineer of a lot of the buildings that have been going on, including where we're sitting on. Yep. And I loved your fence covering with the painting. I thought that was great. Anyway, she is here to talk to us. She's also a great community member. She's worked with Kairos on the board for a number of years. And so please welcome Kelsy Ausland and the new, it's not a bank anymore.
Okay, thank you. What's the best place for me to be able to see people where I'm talking? Are you the?
Susan, right next to you will tell you.
Okay.
You probably change the camera around.
Take mask off.
Hold on, everyone. Just a minute. Thank you, everyone.
Technical support, quick.
Every week is a new adventure.
Or it'd be easier if she takes her mask off.
How are you, everyone? 2 seconds. Well, I'm happy to start talking while we're working on the technology. I'm really excited to see so many familiar faces here. This is a great Rotary Club. I'm Kelsy Ausland, president of Ausland Group, and the project I was asked here to talk about today, we've named the Riverway. And the idea is that we want a dynamic redevelopment to start happening to connect the downtown of Grants Pass to the river. And this is something that I know many people in this room have thought about, been involved with. You know, when we started looking at what needs to happen to move Grants Pass forward, I spend time, I stop at the growers market, I'll go down all these little boutique shops and see so much great things happening, but then I stop somewhere, right? I start walking from downtown, I get past Rogue Barber Shop, and you know, I don't keep going. And then we look at what we have happening on the river. Half Rock, the most beautiful river in the country, in my opinion. And there's so much happening, but not this connection to bring people back and forth. And I do want to pull this conversation back a little bit to go, what is the role of architecture and design in a community? Because I think it ties in really closely with what Wynn was talking about of the loneliness we're having in our community, the lack of connections. And I think it's critical that architecture and design really understands its role in building those connections, responding to a community, and helping bring communities together and stronger. So is it ready for me to? Great. Perfect. So I firmly believe that community and architecture are interlinked. The needs of a community need to respond and inform the architectural design. And good architecture, in turn, helps build a sense of community by bringing people closer together and nurturing stronger ties. So Aaron and I, like many of you, had seen this building sitting vacant for many, many years. And I always saw it as this, a bit of a, we'll see. All Care was the most recent tenant that had it really thriving, which was quite a few years ago. I mean, we're talking 10 years ago when it was Mid-Rogue IPA, lots of people in there. But since then, it's been pretty vacant, a little bit of an albatross in town, and just this vast sea of asphalt and concrete that is not inviting to walk through. So we really saw that as an opportunity, have seen so many ideas in town. We've been really blessed with our opportunities in design and building throughout the state. And at some point you look around the room and go, the only people who are changing things are people just like me. We all need to step up and do something to make our communities better. So I did want to segue there on this conversation of what good design does. I thought it was interesting. I was coming here today realizing that was the old All Care building. And looking at where we are sitting today, how the architecture of this building responded to the values of the community and the organization. When I sat down with Doug and the leadership of All Care, they wanted a building that was open to the entire community where everyone felt welcome. Solid, would be here to stay, which is represented by the brick, and showing transparency in their values and how they represent themselves to the community, which is why there's so much glass, where you can literally see the transparency in their organization represented in the building structure. And in return, the architecture that exists today contributes to strengthening the community and reinforcing those values. Concepts like that we are able to be here today to have a community meeting was very well thought out by the leadership of All Care in what they wanted to bring to the community. So I just thought that was a great example as we're looking at what can architecture do for a community and help organizations reinforce those values. This is a great example of that. So back to our property here, we do have this thriving downtown in Grants Pass, which I love, and I've been here now for 20 years, and I'm actually amazed at how far it's come in just that short time. Our Rogue River and this missing link here. So we see a huge opportunity here on 6th and L Street. With the opportunities, over 30,000 vehicle trips are going by that site every day. That is a huge traffic count. And the trips are going by there slowly. I mean, people are driving by, want to stop, want to interact. There's a lot of opportunity there. A generous parking lot, which is hard to find in urban areas, a 20,000 square foot building with good bones, and we're only 5 blocks from downtown and the riverfront, it's walking distance to both of those areas. And we have a very development-friendly city. Oregon does not always have the best reputation for land use and making things go. Grants Pass is a fantastic community for getting things done with city staff who really want to help people move things forward. The challenges, though, that we saw is that the major building systems were at the end of life. I mean, very end. While the building has good bones, it really needed to be gutted. We're in what we consider a frontier market here in Grants Pass, where lease rates and what people can pay for supporting their businesses don't necessarily justify the types of investment that needs to happen to renovate these types of buildings. So when you're looking in Portland and even Eugene, when it's really easy to get $2.50 a square foot for a building, you can start doing a lot with that with renovation. But what happens in our markets is it's really easy to keep aging buildings just kind of trickling along, getting 50 cents a square foot and just patching everything together as you go. So those are what we saw as our major challenges. So our vision for this was to bring energy and life to Midtown, stay authentic to Grants Pass, and create an urban park-like atmosphere. So we really considered those values when looking at every aspect of our project and what design elements we wanted to bring to this project. So as an overview, we completely reconfigured the parking lot, closed off. There were actually 7 access points to 6th, 7th, and L Street. So this was just a massive place for cars to speed across. And so we've closed those off to create more opportunities for landscaping, safer areas for pedestrians to cross and feel comfortable. So you'll see we have a main drive aisle going across the front of the building, but scooting some parking up a little closer to more office areas and creating a large, what we envision will be an outdoor seating area outside this 2-story window area. And then there'll be a singular drive aisle out to L Street, and we're missing the great human being that just got set there a couple weeks ago in this picture. but this is really the vision, and all of these trees, those are real. We want to really create an environment that when we're walking from downtown, we see this park-like atmosphere, and you're drawn to the place, and it feels comfortable and provides shade and cooling as we're seeing our community warm up. This is ever more important that we have places to provide this shelter and keep our urban areas cooler. So this is a view from 6th Street. I'm going to go over some of our strategies here, but you'll notice you look at some of the past pictures that there used to be a canopy in front of this entire building facade here. And what that really did was it made the building feel squatty, and I called it our sad canopy. It was on the north side of the building, so we didn't really need a canopy on the north side of the building. It's shaded the entire year round, and it really concealed these two-story floor-to-ceiling windows that are beautiful. And then to break up this the facade, which was very long and squatty, we created a tall, we call it an eyebrow, architectural piece along the front there. And then we'll be putting some wood framed, heavy timber framed portals to really accentuate the entrances to the different businesses that will be in the building eventually. Similarly, from the 7th Street side, we're preserving some of the canopy. This is a great location to have an area where some undercover seating for the restaurant, whoever may be there. And then again, this is actually the exit of our human being. They're right over there. So one concept I want to talk about is that good design does not necessarily mean it has to be expensive. And I want to share some of our cost-effective strategies for approaching this renovation. Removing the canopy. It's amazing how much actually taking something away added to the building. So this is a similar view here where we took away the canopy. That's that two-story area. And look how much more grand the building looks. It's amazing what that did. And then adding this framework here that we use with the metal paneling system to really complement the Gates furniture store next door, which is a really nice feature in town, and a lot of the other architecture it complements in town. We have this 1950s style reddish weird brick on the building, and spent a lot of time going, what do we do with that? Because it really kept the building dated in the past. And I'll be honest, we spent a couple months looking at different types of stain, testing out different stains on the building, and really working with our craftspeople to get just the right look for how we could transform the building. And took it from this red 1950s style to a more modern, contemporary Pacific Northwest style of building. I talked to a few people who thought we should paint, let's add all sorts of different things to the building, and I'm a believer in really thoughtful design, that less is more, and what can we do with less. So showing an overview of what we have, this helps articulate the park-like atmosphere that we are headed towards. So again, really trying to combine the vehicular access to a really limited area on site. So we'll have one main drive aisle that skews slightly to help to slow down traffic through there. And then connecting up to L Street here, and parking areas that are really well protected, keep pedestrians safe, and opening up the front of the building to really be a large pedestrian walkway. So this will be a 16-foot wide sidewalk, similar to what you would have in a downtown area in front of the building, with the anticipation that will attract the types of businesses who want to use that for outdoor seating and gathering, and hope this becomes a place where there is a lot of activity and engagement and excitement. So with that, we are we're looking at leasing out the building, and it's been our philosophy that we do want to see the site really get transformed and show people what this is going to be to get the right tenants in the space. So we are hoping to find a restaurant who's interested in this area, which is about 5,000 square feet right here, with around 1,500 square feet of outdoor dining to really help bring a lot of that energy and excitement. We've had quite a bit of interest, a lot of people looking, so that is a focus of ours, is looking for a great tenant for that area. And likewise, we do have a drive-through available on the backside here. There's just been an increase in desire for drive-through businesses in the COVID-19 era. So there's a lot of different applications of what drive-through might be. We're not talking about a fast food restaurant, but there's the Casablancas and those types of businesses that can work really well here. So, go back to here. And we do have a second-story office space. I didn't get any pictures there, but it is a beautiful view of the mountains. So overall, we have 20,000 square feet to lease up, and we are anticipating really looking for tenants this summer and having the building open to the public in the beginning of 2023. So that is an overview of our Riverway project. And we're really excited to be here working in our hometown on this project. It's been our own architects, engineers, builders, crews out there doing this work, which is really exciting. I saw Debbie Brownell on there, Brownell Electric's out there. We're trying to keep everything local and really work with local businesses for tenants of the building as well to create that, that energy and vitality that I think is critical to bringing that downtown and riverfront together. So I'm happy to open it up for any questions.
I have a question. So right in this picture, that part with all the seating, that's like going to be a dining?
That'll be an outdoor dining area, right?
And so your current people in there are, who's in there right now?
We don't have current tenants. We're in there,
okay.
we're in there really gutting the building
Okay.
and renovating, and we're bringing it up to a shell condition where tenants can then come in and make improvements.
So
build it out.
Sotheby's was in there for a short time?
They were in there for a short time,
They
right?
moved.
They moved, right?
Okay.
Right.
There was 6 to 8.
Yeah.
Were you able to, or are you gonna attempt to save what was left of that vault? Something that was in the,
The vault is still in there.
Oh, good, okay.
And I've walked through there with some friends who have an idea for a restaurant. You know, maybe we call the restaurant the Vault, and you get to have private dining in there. So I've seen a lot of applications. I've walked through a lot of remodeled bank buildings, actually, and there's some really fun applications. You know, all the safety deposit boxes are still in there, and I think there could be some fun applications of what you do in there.
There's an old bank in Marysville that uses the vault as their wine cellar.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
That is a great idea.
That's good.
When you are looking at possible tenants, I've never done a commercial project, like that. I mean, how much emphasis or leeway do you put on trying to find a restaurant? Because you really want a restaurant, but somebody else comes in and they want to do X.
That's a great question,
where do you
because
find
we've
that
had
out?
multiple office tenants look to take that space over. And so that's something that we're, I think from a visioning perspective, we're really wanting to see what can we find and who can we help support in terms of a restaurant, because I do think it would be great for the community and a great location. But, you know, it's a business investment as well, so we need a tenant in there.
Sure.
So I think that those are the areas where we will be flexible to see how this comes together. There's also a potential for a restaurant on the other side and have some people interested in different permutations of businesses. But it is important to me that we get in one complex businesses that create good synergy and work well together. They're not competing with each other, they're working with each other. So we have human beings. You're not going to see a Starbucks or someone else going in there, right?
Sure.
But it does look like a great location for a restaurant business. I am not interested in opening a restaurant business.
You have enough else to do, huh?
Right.
I think most of us feel that way.
Yeah.
Right.
Go to one, no.
Right, so.
Do you have an idea of how small you'll go with some of the office space? Do you have a?
So right now, in general, we're looking at like 2,000 square feet would be one of the smaller tenant spaces. There's a potential for the upstairs office area to potentially become a cooperative workspace. I think there's a really high demand in all communities for that type of space right now, especially coming out of COVID, where the 1 to 5 person firms may not need full-time office facilities anymore, but still need the resources, amenities, and like the collaboration of being in a creative workplace.
Because, you know, before the bank, when it was the bank, it had the open to the second floor on part of it. Is it still that way?
So it's still open to the second floor. At some point in the last 40 years, the mezzanine was, a whole wall was built there in the mezzanine. So which I recall actually being there when I was in Bank of America probably 20 years ago. So what I would envision for the restaurant is that we open that mezzanine back up. So you have a multi-layer of seating and the kitchen is under that mezzanine deck.
Slightly changing the subject, are you doing any work up at Crater Lake? I thought I saw some trucks up there that.
We are doing a big project at Crater Lake. We are doing doing a seismic upgrade to the Steel Visitor Center. And it's a really intensive project. We've basically meticulously removed every single piece of trim and finish on the building, mapped it, cataloged it, packaged it up, and the building is completely gutted, and we're gonna put all new systems, seismic retrofit, and then everything is gonna be put back where it was, and you'll never know we were there.
What's the timetable for that one?
That one will be complete around December, January this year. That is a big job working up. I knew it snowed a lot at Crater Lake. Saw the snow record, but you don't quite believe it until you see 2 feet come down in one day. So.
Could you also talk to him a little bit about the work that you did at Newman United Methodist Church?
Absolutely. Yes, we had the grand opening on Sunday. Pat, I know Aaron said he was excited to see you, and it was a great, love that project and the whole Newman community. The project at Newman, there's the historic church building, and then there is the education building behind that, if you've been to the 2 of them, are very disconnected by the grade change between the floor elevation of the church and then the separate, you have to go down and back up to get into the other buildings. And so the project we just completed for Newman was to create a connecting plaza structure that brings the buildings together and really makes it much more usable for the church community. So.
Great, you can walk right out of the sanctuary, cross the plaza, the new plaza, and into the fellowship hall, the big, it used to be an education building. And it's just, so it makes it accessible, so people don't have to climb up and down stairs. Wonderful.
I'm sorry I missed you on Sunday. I actually, speaking of COVID, I was on vacation for spring break out of the country, got COVID, and got to spend an extra 10 days of vacation waiting for the U.S. to let me back in. Yeah, allegedly. The summer thing was, were you really stuck on vacation? Because I was stuck on an island in the South Pacific. So I did quarantine better than anyone else. Yeah.
Tough duty.
How do you do that again, right?
Right.
Are there any questions from people virtually that? Saw some great comments there in the chat. Okay.
Steve, I just want to make one remark. 30 years ago, when I was on the city council and Laurel was working for community development, we talked about doing something with that strip between basically where the old Toyota dealership used to be,
Right.
down to the river. And, it just sort of falls apart there. So it's great that this has come in.
Well, I can tell you that I actually picked up your actual work from that. I have actually dug up the river district plans, and I know to some people that's like a 4-letter word I'm not supposed to say. I don't know what happened, that the plans didn't work, but it was a beautiful plan. And it's really workable, and it should be part of the concept, should be bringing the community forward, because it really makes a lot of sense. So great work. I do want to say work that you did, Jim did, all of that work, people are listening, we pay attention, and people pick that up when you retire.
Were you able to, financing-wise, were you able to use the Urban Area Renewal District funding system?
That's
as
a
source?
great question. Honestly, we are talking with them about helping with the contribution to some of the site work and urban work that we're planning on doing that in the next week or two, some of the areas that we haven't finished yet. The program was somewhat in flux when we started this project because the urban renewal has been looking at, well, which projects do we work on? What are these different programs? And then there's been some retirements. So having gone through this project, I have some great ideas of how things can be made more accessible to developers who want to take on projects like this because they don't necessarily make financial sense. It's hard to show an ROI on an immediate ROI for trees and $5,000 tree grades and those types of things that cost real money but truly make a difference in the community and the sense of place that we create. But we know that the overall vision, I trust, will work. So.
I hope you do. I think there really hasn't been any applications on that through that funding source yet, and it needs to be forced so that those processes can work out. So I hope you do it.
Great, because we do have some ideas of where we would like to take the project that are hard to accomplish right now. So we'll put that application forward.
Good.
Great.
Looks like Valerie has a question.
Yeah, basically, I'm just going to add on to what Doug is saying, because you're right, the urban renewal funding is there. I also want to point out that Ausland is the building person as we move forward with the affordable housing project out in Ramsey, Nebraska. So, they do an amazing amount for our community. And I would really invite, Kelsy, I've been trying to get hold of you to talk with you about, how do we help? And you just talked about that. How do we help other people come along? Because oftentimes it's the trailblazer that steps out to do things that helps lead others through the process. And I will say housing is another piece that we want people to come to us to help us to know what is the best way in our community to have these laid before us and kind of lay the groundwork so others can follow behind. So I would love to have the opportunity, to chat with you and talk about giving some of that advice so I can also carry it forward as I am on the Urban Renewal Agency board. So I really look forward to having that conversation as how to keep it moving.
I look forward to that.
Yes, housing as well.
Any other questions?
I have one.
Sure.
If you're interested in Rotary, as you can see, it's a great club.
Well, thank you.
And she's our membership person.
Yeah.
Good job.
And we meet in really interesting buildings.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'd love to meet in any future interesting buildings that are.
Great. Well, thank you. Well, thank you for having me. It's a great community we live in, and it's really fun to be here in person. I look forward to seeing more people in person in the near future, and thank you.
I interrupted a question for you.
Oh,
Okay.
I could keep going, so. A lot of questions and things like that.
Well, thank you for all you do for the community with the Ausland team and just everything that you do. It's
Thank you.
very much appreciated.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
I forgot to have people help out when you came in.
Okay.
Hand them out.
Debbie, did you have a question? I see your hand is up. Okay, there we go.
Yep, Debbie's got a question.
Okay. So now we'll move into the Sergeant at Arms, and guests are always welcome to stay. And then we're also, after the meeting, we'll kind of continue to have our fellowship after the meeting. So, John, would you like to take us to Sergeant at Arms, please?
Thank you, Steve. I'd like to give $10 for I'm glad to hear about the Riverway restaurant, and I hope that's going to be a fantastic atmosphere for that. But I have one little fear, is because there's still a safe there. And I know Chase is looking for a new bank, so I hope they don't do that. Okay. Who wants their hands up there for happy bucks? Or sad, if.
I think Valerie's got her hand up again.
Okay.
Yes, I'm just gonna say $10 to the Auslands and all that they're doing. So that's my happy buck. I get very excited as I drive down and see that project come about. It's happy to see the human being get plunked down. I am very excited about that that movement of town all the way down to the river. So 10 happy bucks, 10 sad bucks. My mother is not doing well. I spent this last weekend sitting up with her in Wilsonville. And it's hard. It's hard to watch someone decline. And so at any time, I'm kind of in that mode that I may be gone because my mom needs me. So there we go.
Okay. Thank you, Valerie. Kirk, go ahead.
Yeah, maybe it's, maybe it's not happy buck or sad buck, but maybe bittersweet bucks. I got my income tax done and I'm happy that I got them done. $10 for that.
Amen.
Okay, Cindy, go ahead. Thank you, Kurt.
Okay, just a couple of things. I won't be here next week, and my husband and I are celebrating our 39th wedding anniversary. So that's really big. And next month, look for me on local channels on the Subaru commercial. I got to shoot a Subaru commercial. So that was a lot of fun. Anyway, that's mine.
Thank you, Cindy. Steve, go ahead.
I would like to also, $10 for Ausland Group for the conversation, because we were family business of the year a few years ago, and I was, a couple of years ago, made the presentation for the Ausland Group. And congratulations on that, because I know family business is such a part of your culture as well as, my culture.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I have 10 happy bucks because that building is in our neighborhood. We live in the southwest part of town, and I'm looking forward to a restaurant that we could walk to that's outdoors. Although everything is possible in the Grants Pass area for sure, but that's really nice.
An enjoyable walk though now.
Yeah.
Yes,
And a good outdoor space
yeah.
is lovely. We'd be part of it. We might as well have more outdoor space.
That's right.
Love the outdoor space.
Yeah.
I think Debbie's hand is up.
John, Debbie's got one there.
Okay, go ahead, Debbie. I can't see her.
Yes, so I'm happy. We had a District 7 school board meeting Tuesday, and we have a new school board member who I think will add to the breadth of insights, perspectives, and life experiences that she can bring to the board. And we have a contract approved with the new superintendent, Tim Sweeney, and things seem to be going relatively smoothly, so I'm very happy.
At the moment.
Thank you, Debbie. Greg?
John, I've got some too.
Okay.
I've got 5 happy bucks on behalf of Deb Brownell. Hey Debbie, my asparagus is coming out of the ground really fast and hard right now, if you want to come get some. That time of year.
Love it, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dick. How about Greg? I saw a hand. Fishwick?
No, I think that was just a reaction to the appointment of Brenda Aguilar
Oh,
to the school board,
okay.
which was a applause. It looks like a hand, but it's 2 hands clapping, John.
Okay. Anybody else? I hope I can see. If not, I'll return it back to Steve. Go ahead, Steve.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate that. And, for our thought for the week, and, when I heard Valerie talk about her mom, and my mom calls early in the morning, and can you help me with this credit card, that type of thing. And I think all of us around this Rotary Club, whether we're virtual or whether we're in person, the seniors in our lives, our parents and friends and relatives, this thought for the week kind of ties along with the PACE program for last week. But this thought is remain patient and give all your respect to our beloved seniors. They have earned their dignity throughout their lifetimes. And I think that's so true. If I don't know about you, but sometimes you get impatient and that type of thing. And what seems easy for us sometimes isn't easy for everybody else, whether they are just Riverway people from where they are. So with that, we will adjourn the meeting, and if you want to stay on and visit some more, we'd love to have some more conversation of what's going on in our lives. I can't ring the bell right now because I can't get to the internet. Yeah, ding. Yeah.
Good meeting.
Do you have, Kelsey, do you have anything else interesting happening in Grants Pass? Any other buildings in the works soon?